given they're very different but similar from everything I know of the streets and the music industry, of the cutthroat nature of it and all this other stuff. So, like, what's the difference you noticed, or is it the same thing? Like when you would notice something didn't feel right in the streets or something didn't feel right in the music industry, did you feel the same way, or was it a different like?
No, it was a more urgent. It was a more urgent feeling when it was in the streets, because it was more life or death in the streets. With the music industry, I didn't take them serious, man. I didn't take the exec serious. I didn't take none of that shit serious, to the point they wasn't a threat to me. Only thing they could do was fuck me over financially. And that's how I looked at it. I mean, they couldn't control what I made. They couldn't control the music I made, what I said. They could never tell us what to do. You know, we did what the fuck we wanted to do. We fucked up budgets. We fucked up everything. We did what we wanted to do in that arena. But in the streets, you couldn't do what you wanted to do, because you could cross a line and it could cost you your life. You could, you know, it was more of a cautious maneuvering when it came to the streets for us. We had to maneuver a lot more cautious than in the music. In the music industry, you could just push your way through. If you fuck you. That was that. The music industry was a bunch of rich people that really didn't understand what they was dealing with. They was bringing a dysfunctional, like adopting a dysfunctional kid and bringing him to $1 million home, and when everything is perfect, and he just come from shit, and expect him to be perfect and good, you know.
Well, it's interesting on many levels, but one question I have then is, just using arbitrary amount of money, $100,000. Why did it not matter to you in the music industry if you tricked off or messed up $100,000? Well, obviously in the streets, that's a lot of money, especially back then. Why didn't you look at them the same, in the sense of, this 100,000 in the music industry could lead me to $1 million, as opposed to this 100,000 in the streets, you know?
Well, see, with the music industry, man, for one, you don't see the money, for one. Like in the streets, you actually looking at the 100,000. You touching it, you can feel it. So in the music industry, it's just a promise. And see, coming from the street, a promise never meant shit to me. You could promise me we're gonna be the greatest thing. A promise didn't mean anything to me. So I was taught to never miss something you never had. So
wait,
even if somebody, I never missed it.
so
Any money they sold or anything, I never missed it.
So you never got a check from Relativity on anything?
Yes. Oh, we got paid, but we didn't get paid the way we should have. Let's just put it that way. It was a lot of pitfalls, and it was a lot of tricks in the contracts, man. And a lot of recoupment and a lot of things that they charged back to us. And, you know, it was never designed for us to win. No artist that signed an artist deal in the 90s won, because it wasn't designed for the artist to win. You know, with recoupment and, you know, and all the other things they add to it, from video budgets to radio budgets to marketing budgets, you always be in the red signing the artist deal. And, you know, the smart guys from the 90s started their own labels and did it that way. That was the smart way to do it.
Yeah. It's a tricky game, that's for sure.
Yeah, most def. Yeah.
Okay, so back to FBI. With the real with this, I always liked it, seemed like it had that feel from Houdini's Friends.
Yes, most def.
And I always think it's hilarious, or ironic, I should say. A lot of people that are super hardcore, super street love Houdini. And
yeah, Houdini was the roadmap, man. Houdini was the dopest shit ever, man. When I heard Run-DMC, when King of Rock, I'm from the LA radio era. But when Houdini came, they had that Michigan. It just felt like they had the strings and the instruments. It was instruments on everything, and it was chanty. All the hooks had a chant and a message. That shit was the shit to me. Houdini made one of the greatest albums ever, to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, Dana and I did one on Escape. So check out the link up there for people that want to check that out, where we go through Escape, which I think is their best album. But it's just always amazing to me that Houdini, on the one hand, seems to get so much respect from certain people, but I don't think they get respect on the mainstream, just to any average person level. But They're phenomenal.
Yeah,
Phenomenal, phenomenal.
messengers, man. They was the messengers. Way ahead of their time.
That's for sure. That's for
Mhm.
sure. Speaking of that, on What's on My Mind on FBI, you brought it back for part 2. So what made you want to revisit that song?
What's on My Mind has been a sweetheart of ours, man. That's just our theme, and we did it fast and we did it slow, and that just comes to the thinking of me and String. String feel more superior and strong on slow songs, and I feel more superior and strong on up tempo songs. So if we like something, we use that was the conflict on Billy Blunt on the What's on My Mind album, the song Billy Blunt. That's why it has 2 different beats, because String wanted to rap slow and I wanted to rap up tempo. And that's why we decided to split it and do a verse for a verse. But with What's on My Mind, that was the similar way of thinking. I gave you a fast one, now give me a slow one.
Okay, fair enough. And here, around this time too, with Relativity in particular, this is when 3-6 in this era kind of gets with Relativity also, and you guys get on the Are You Ready For Us off the Chapter 2 album. You guys talk about breaking out the South, and it's a great collaboration. So was that purely, did Relativity connect you guys, or did you guys connect outside of that system?
No, we could listen, man. We connected. You notice I'm not on that song, right?
Right.
I was in prison, man. I connected them. I was in prison, and so happened my bunkie was Nick Scarfo, which was 3-6 Mafia's management. So once we got to talking and I told him who I was, he told me who he was. I connected String with a DJ Paul through Nick Scarfo in prison. We was in Milan Correctional Facility.
Well, that was my second question, because I was wondering how that happened while you were incarcerated. But how did you notice with these different types of moves that you were still able to do to keep things going before Death Before Dishonesty? How were you able to stay afloat and stay relevant and stay doing these things?
Actually, man, it was kind of like Forrest Gump. I was always in the right place at the right time, man. It wasn't none of my doing. I didn't put myself in a cell with Nick Scarfo. It was organically God just moved through my life in a way where I was always in the right place at the right time. I met the right people. I always was uniquely positioned. And I think it was a godly thing. That's all I could say. It was a spiritual thing to put me in the places where I avoided a lot of things, and I made a lot of good contacts being in the right place at the right time.
Clearly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because also on the Private Posse, About the South from the Body Parts, that's another one. And I always thought you guys, or generally speaking, Dayton Family collaborated well with 3-6 because of that angry, scary type of music that you guys both seem to enjoy making stuff on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
then,
they're my brothers, man. We just had a chance to rekindle with DJ Paul. He came, did a show on his tour a few weeks ago, and we went out there and went to the show and kicked it with him.
dope. That
Yeah.
must have been great.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with Death Before Dishonesty, how and why did you end up staying with Relativity instead of exploring other stuff?
Well, I was comfortable with Relativity, man. Cliff Contrary was coming to visit me in prison. So when he was coming to visit me, he kept the relationship valid. He let me know that they cared about me. So, and I felt safe there. I knew they was gonna push my music. And what I didn't know though is that when I got ready to release the album, that they would have merged in the Loud, and that would have fucked me up like it did. I gave them a multi-platinum album with Death Before Dishonesty, and they let me get caught in the merger. I was kind of pissed about that, but the world got a chance to hear it. That was my whole goal, man. It's just I always was more focused on the music, the success of the music than anything. I would do if I could put out an album right now, a Dayton Family album, and they said we'll give you $1 million to do it locally, or you do it for free and we'll put it out worldwide. I'll do it for free. That's how I feel about letting the fans hear the music more than the money or any of that.
And where does that come from, do you think?
I just got a genuine love for music. Music saved my life, man. It's always been a vehicle for me to express myself. And music just shaped me. It gave me so much, man. It took me places I would have never been. I've seen things I would have never seen without music, man. Music has just been I don't even know what my life would have been like without music. I couldn't even imagine a life without it. You know, it gave me so much confidence and everything, man. Music just shaped me. And when I do music, it's an honor for me to be able to share it with other people and have people identify with it and can genuinely lock into what I'm saying. And to hear people say it back to me, it gives me a feeling of reward that money could never give me.
Yeah. So after FBI, or around the time when you did get incarcerated, like what did that teach you about yourself? Like how did it change you? How did you learn? How did it help you, hurt you? Like what?
What you got to keep in mind, you know, this is something that I tell people, and it's kind of unique to me. And but I've been through when I say every, I mean literally, I've been through every single phase of the criminal justice system. I've been on juvenile probation. I've been to the juvenile detention center. I've been to Maxi Boys training school. I've been on juvenile tether. I've been to boot camp. I've been in the adult county jail. I've been in state prison, and I've been in federal prison. It's no other steps in the criminal justice system that you can go to. I've been through every single phase of the criminal justice system. So most of my life, over half of my life, I've been incarcerated in and out, you know. So I have an appreciation. Being incarcerated was a blessing in disguise for me in a lot of ways. It gave me an opportunity to learn. You know, I went to school year round. I read well. It gave me a chance to sit back and see the world moving without me, and it helped me kind of identify loyalty, true loyalty. You know, being incarcerated, you got to have people that really love you to be there for you, that stick with you. So it gives you a chance to really sort out the friends from the foes. And that was helpful for me. I needed that because I thought everybody was my friend. Everyone that was around me, I could treat them as friends. And really only a small percent of those people were truly my friends. They were just a lot of leeches clinging on for the drug rides and the joy rides. And it was one of them things, man. I was being used by a lot of people.
And at what point did you, if at all, in this time, did you ever say, man, I got to stop doing this because I got a music career, because I got a life, you know?
Never. I never looked at it that way, man. I always looked at it like it was supposed to be all of us. When you were with me, I made everybody feel like me. You know, I never was the guy that, you know, we were finna go to a strip club. I didn't wait till we get in the strip club and then give you money. I gave everybody money before we went to the strip club so we all could look like rappers. And that was my way. I felt like I was blessed to have what I had. I felt like the streets gave it to me and I should give it back. That's kind of where I felt. I felt obligated to help everybody in a way. I just felt like they ain't come from shit either, man. They ain't got shit. Might as well help him. Or, you know, they've been with me, man. Shit, when we were selling rocks, I might as well help him. So you don't got to do that. And that's just the way I felt about everything, man. I felt obligated to try to save the whole ghetto.
And what about, ironically though, what about saving yourself from being incarcerated, from being in these situations?
Yeah, I never looked at myself. I never felt like a victim of any of that, man. I felt like it was just a circumstance that was meant to happen. I never complained about none of it. I wouldn't change none of it. If I can go back right now to 1990, I would do the exact same thing. Because it just made me the person I am today. You know, I'm so blessed, man. I've been through so many things. I've seen so much. I've been through so many storms, man. And on the other side of the storms, I've always become a better person. And one way or another, it's made me better in some fashion, some way, every storm that I've been through. And I love the storms, man. The storms make you hard, man. They just prepare you. You know, right now, man, you can drop me off in Africa without $1. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it all the way back to America without $1. Nothing, man. You could, you know, and that's how I feel about life. You can put me anywhere in any ghetto, I'm gonna make it. Anywhere. I can survive any situation. Put me in it.
Right.
And that's just the way I feel, man. I genuinely feel that way.